NA discussed GDP growth target of over 10% in 2026.
US and Australia sign historic rare earth agreement.
Digital consumption becomes community habit.
Hello, so good to see you again in today's news by Nghệ An Press and Broadcasting Agency. I'm Hoàng Yên, and here we go, the first headline of the show. Continuing the 10th session of the 15th National Assembly, on October 21st, lawmakers convened to assess socio-economic performance in 2025 and discussed the development targets for the coming years, which includes an ambitious GDP growth target of over 10%.
According to the overall targets presented by the government, 2026 will include 15 key socio-economic targets, including a GDP growth rate of 10% or higher, per capita GDP of 5.400 to 5.500 USD, average CPI increase of around 4.5%. Key localities are expected to achieve double-digit growth. The government aims to promote growth alongside macroeconomic stability, inflation control, and balanced development. Fiscal and monetary policies will be closely coordinated, with a focus on supporting production, business, strategic sectors, and effectively implementing preferential credit packages, managing gold, corporate bond and real estate markets.
The United States and Australia have signed a historic agreement on rare earths and strategic minerals aimed at reducing reliance on China. The deal marks a major turning point in economic and defense cooperation between the two close allies under the AUKUS framework.
The signing ceremony took place at the White House, attended by U.S. President Donald Trump and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Included plans for projects worth up to $8.5 billion United States dollars. The White House later issued an official statement confirming that the two countries will invest more than $3 billion United States dollars in strategic mineral projects over the next 6 months. Australia announced two key projects: a gallium refining plant in Western Australia, expected to supply 10% of global gallium, securing supply for the semiconductor and defense sectors, and the Arafura Nolans project in Northern Australia, projected to produce 5% of the world's rare earths. The agreement was signed as Washington seeks to diversify its supply of critical minerals, following China's move to tighten exports of rare earths and related materials.
Fighting in Gaza intensified despite an ongoing ceasefire agreement, raising concerns that the fragile truce between Hamas and Israel may collapse amid renewed violence.
The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, stated that they carried out an airstrike targeting an armed group approaching Israeli positions in Khan Yunis, southern Gaza. Gaza's health officials reported that at least 5 people were killed and many others injured in an Israeli airstrike on Az-Zawada, central Gaza. A day earlier, at least 45 people were killed and over 100 injured as Israel carried out dozens of airstrikes in response to an anti-tank missile attack from Rafah that killed 2 Israeli soldiers. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump warned that Hamas would be wiped out if it failed to honor the ceasefire. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance is en route to Israel to further discuss the implementation of the ceasefire agreement.
Upcoming are some updated news.
Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh has issued urgent directive, directing ministries, agencies, and localities to take urgent, proactive measures to respond to Typhoon Function, the 12th storm hitting the East Sea so far this year. According to the National Center for Hydrometeorological Forecasting, the typhoon is strengthening and may interact with a cold front to cause extreme rainfall from Ha Tin to Quang Ngai, with some areas expected to receive over 900 millimeters. The PM has instructed localities to relocate residents from high-risk areas, ensure dam safety, and manage reservoirs effectively. Emergency supplies and rescue teams must be ready at locations at risk of being isolated. Authorities are also required to continuously update the public to minimize loss of life and property.
Vietnam's international trade continues to show strong momentum, with total import-export turnover surpassing $700 billion as of mid-October. According to customs data, exports are maintaining a steady growth momentum, driven by key sectors such as electronics, machinery, textiles, and agriculture. On the import side, rising demand for raw materials and components reflects a robust recovery in domestic production. With this performance and consistent growth trends in recent months, experts believe total import-export turnover could reach or exceed $900 billion by the end of 2025.
According to an official document from the Ministry of Finance, Nghệ An province will receive more than 4.5 trillion Vietnamese dongs in central budget allocations for 2026. Including over 4 trillion Vietnamese dongs in domestic funding and more than 446 billion Vietnamese dongs in foreign capital. In alignment with national investment priorities, the Standing Committee of the Nghệ An Provincial Party Committee has agreed to allocate 3.8 trillion Vietnamese dongs from the domestic budget to the Vinh Ton Thuy Expressway project. The expressway section is approximately 60 kilometers long and is scheduled to start construction in 2026. This is a vital section of the Hanoi-Vientiane axis, forming the shortest high-speed transport link between the capitals of Vietnam and Laos.
The use of digital consumption services has become a common trend in recent years as more and more people choose to shop and make transactions on online platforms. E-commerce enables consumers to connect more conveniently with brands and sellers, easily accessing quality products at reasonable prices from the comfort of their homes. More in this story today.
Living in the remote mountainous area of Chu Lu Commune, Nghệ An Province, Ms. Lu Thi Nguyen, a longtime vendor, found that digital tools have made receiving and selling goods easier and safer.
Business is convenient. I pay via bank transfer and the goods are delivered right to me.
Highland markets are transforming, not only as trade hubs but as places where ethnic minority communities are embracing digital technology. From selling to cashless payments.
When I go shopping and don't have enough cash, I just scan a QR code and transfer money. It's safe and convenient.
October, the Digital Consumption Month, is now in its fourth year and has become a familiar activity, attracting the strong support from businesses and consumers. It not only boosts revenue during the campaign but also expands the customer base using apps for spending via digital platforms.
Office workers and those under 50 are quick to adopt apps, and many prefer bank transfers because it's faster and convenient.
Digital consumption is no longer a novelty. It becomes a new habit that's spreading rapidly from cities to rural, from the lowlands to the highlands, signaling that digital transformation is on the right track. Still, challenges remain, including risks of data leaks, scams, counterfeit products, and unresolved complaints. Consumers must equip themselves with knowledge to avoid losing money and gaining trouble.
The last story to end our news today. Thank you so much for your attention. Goodbye for now.